This is Haeske, the 42-year-old teenager, and I'd like to request your help for a very old friend of mine, a very old and dear friend of mine, which is my cat here, Katie. And anyway, let me tell you a little about her, and you know how I found her, but basically the thing is that we need to find a place. I need to find a place for her to spend about 5 months. You know, someone to take care of her, which I'd be willing to pay someone. You know, give them all the supplies, and they can take care of my cat. Or if you are at a point in your life, in a moment in your life, where you feel you'd like to have a very affectionate and loving companion, then this might be just your opportunity to have a wonderful new friend. So let me tell you a little bit about my story with Katie, because it'll tell you a little bit about her character and why she's, I would say, a unique cat as far as cats go. And she's just, you know, an incredible friend. So anyway, I think back somewhere around 1999, I was still, I was working for a company called the Sports Authority, and I was restringing tennis rackets. That was my job. I was a freelancer doing that. And I think about a month before, I just got this idea into my head, you know what? I would like to have a cat. You know, I'd been living on my own for a while, and you know, I always, you know, wanted a cat, but I never really seriously thought about it. And this time I said, you know what? I'd like to have a cat. I'd like to have a friend to spend some time with. So I think about a month later, I was in between work, or I think I just finished work at the Sports Authority. I stepped outside, and I think I don't know, I was running an errand to another store, or going to another store. But when I came back, I saw in the middle of this big mall with all sorts of cars and parking lot, I saw a kitten. A beautiful little black kitten. This one here, Katie, who's now called Katie, she was just walking right there in front of the Sports Authority. She was maybe, you know, a few months old, and she was just there all by herself. And I was like, oh, okay, I wanted a cat, here's a cat. So I picked her up, I put her in my car, and you know, she was a little afraid, but she was hungry, and she needed someone to take care of her. So I bought her a cat litter box, bought her food, brought her home. And the really interesting thing about this kitten, was that she couldn't stay away from me. Every moment of the day, she just wanted to be around me constantly. And, you know, she still would prefer that, by the way. But she's at least gotten to the point where she's a little more independent. But she was just, you know, all over me. And you know how most cats are very aloof and like to be on their own. This is more of a cat who loves to be around humans. With one caveat. She is a little bit of a fraidy cat, okay? And you know, if you have a baby or a little toddler, she's afraid of them. And that's another thing we have now. I have my new Raw family, and they have, Carmen has a son, young son, 2.5 years old, and Katie's just still afraid of him. So that's one thing. But you know, we have a friend of mine who would often come and take care of her. And even if you hadn't seen her in a long time, she'd recognize him. She loved him. So she's very affectionate once she gets to know you. But she needs a home, because we're going to be moving to, or at least spending some time in the winter months in Panama. And I do not want to bring my cat overseas. It's a traumatic experience. Plus, you know, she'll be forced to be taking on all sorts. She'll be forced to take vaccines and go through all sorts of procedures that I just don't want to put her through. So, you know, I'm hoping that maybe it might be your special time in your life where you say, yeah, this would be somebody I'd like to have in my life. And you know, like I said, she's just a wonderful cat, and I think you get to love her. I think she's a little over 10 years old, maybe 10 and a half years old, something like that. So, you know, who knows how much longer she'll have to live. It's not like you have the same commitment as if you had a kitten. So you can get her for, who knows, I don't know how much longer she'll live, another 5, 10 years maximum. But you could have a great cat who will be your friend all the time, sit on your lap. She'll, you know, lay down with you. She'll cuddle with you. She's so snuggly. So if you want someone like that, someone who's very good with her litter box, perfectly trained, and just a wonderful cat who also, although we haven't been feeding her raw, that's another problem. I just haven't had the time lately to feed her raw, but she does eat raw meat and raw food. So if you want to do that and you want to give her the ultimate diet, there's no big weaning process, because she'll adapt to that very easily, very quickly, because she's done that a number of times throughout her life. She's been spayed. She had three litters of kittens as a young cat, and then I realized, you know what, I just can't keep having kittens every every 6 months or whatever, so I got her spayed. So anyway, if you feel like this is that time in your life and you are close, you live close in maybe the New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware area somewhere, or if you'd want to even, you know, come further and come and pick her up and take her, we can do two things. Either if you live in New Jersey or somewhere nearby and you just want to take care of her for me for about 5 months, that would be wonderful. And I could, you know, pay you for her food or cat litter or other supplies. But otherwise, if you want to adopt her, you know, you can adopt her, and with the right person, I would even give you some money for food and all sorts of things, and you could adopt her. But, you know, I'm going to be very careful about who gets her, because this is a friend of mine. I want to make sure she's treated well. But we are kind of in a bind, so if you can, you know, contact us via email. You can email me at rh@superbeing.com, or if you're on my email list, which is probably how you found this, you know, just reply to this email, which this is probably going to be on the blog, this video, not in the email, but you can reply to the original email. So I really appreciate your help. I had a friend who was going to take care of her, but last minute he backed out. He was going to take care of her for 5 months, and he was unable to do so. So maybe you could do it, and I'd really appreciate your help in helping a very old and dear friend of mine. Thank you. This is Roger, Haeske, and Katie. Yeah. She likes this, by the way.